Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Untapped Podcast. My name is Jacob Gabel.
And my name is Jacob Wurtz, guys. Welcome to Season 3, Episode number 30. If this is your first time joining us for the Untapped Podcast, first of all, thank you for joining us. We are thrilled to have you here with us. We've actually got 5 main formats of our show. First, we have Forging Fortitude episodes. Now, in these episodes, we cover the mental side of our brand, okay? We go over our anecdotal experience with things like mindset and mentality. We then pass on advice and tips to you guys to then apply to your own lives. Next, we have Physical Vitality episodes. In these episodes, we really get to showcase our expertise because you have 2 certified personal trainers here. Now, in these episodes, we cover the physical side of our brand. Okay, we go over everything to do with the gym, fitness, nutrition, diet, workout programs like 75 Hard, supplements. We also sometimes will take trending things or articles that are standing out to us within the fitness industry, and then we will cover those. We'll give our thoughts and opinions on that. Now, guys, in these episodes, we give out a lot of free information for you, okay? So make sure you pay attention to those episodes, write down notes if you need to, re-listen to it if you need to. Okay, we give out a lot of free game, especially if you're a beginner. We give out a lot of beginner tips. Okay, we've actually got a Physical Vitality today for you. Okay,
Yeah,
so we're very excited to bring this one to you.
Guys, our third format is our breaking news format. Now, that's a current event-based format. Keep in mind, though, we're not just here to be all doom and gloom and, you know, the world's going to collapse, that type of thing.
Even though it is.
Yes, true. But we're also here to bring solutions during those episodes, too. We're the entire time, yes, do we laugh and make fun of the situations and whatnot and, you know, talk about different current events going on. We bring in articles, that type of stuff. But we do give solutions during those episodes to how we can hopefully avert any crisis that might be coming here soon.
Absolutely.
Now, our fourth format is our masculinity-based format. It's called Knight's Table. So those Knight's Table episodes, keep in mind, I'm 25, Wurtz is 25, Mitch is 23. Because of that, we are not coming to you from some kind of high horse as a man, as this all put-together man there is. That's not realistic. As I always say, the only man who is all put together and ever was put together is Jesus Christ. So because of that, there is no, we're coming to you from a place of we're better than you. Never during those episodes. It is encouraging the regrowth, so to speak, of masculinity back in our society because it's been attacked for tens of years now and demonizes this bad thing, and we want to bring it back in its full growth as it used to be.
Yeah.
Now, our fifth format is our guest format. The guest format, you can take a guess and get what that is. That is when we sit down with somebody that's an entrepreneur, fitness professional, somebody with a great story, somebody that brings you value in general, and then we sit down with them and we really have a great conversation. We learn a lot from it. We might show you a different side of somebody, you know, like an episode that we might have coming up here. Just something
not
like that.
Yeah. It is coming up.
Sorry, I thought I'd tease them a little bit.
Yeah.
But, guys, those are really exciting for us as well because we end up learning just as much as you do, too.
Definitely.
Now, our final thing to introduce is our producer and my brother, Mitchell Gabel.
Good evening, men.
What's up? What's up, dude? How we doing,
He
Mitch?
went back to the 1700s for that one.
I'm good.
Doing good?
Yeah. Are you doing good?
I am doing good, brother. We got Halloween coming up. We got the World Series starting.
Halloween's a cool holiday.
Life's good, man. Yeah.
I don't know. Everybody says it's demonic. Some Christians do it. I'm like, well, it's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah. Like it's just costumes, bro. Like,
Exactly.
We don't have to make it that big of a deal out of it. Like I get it, but
yeah.
you know,
I wanted to before we dive into our topic for the night, I wanted to say something about the Knight's Table episodes, guys. So over 25% of our listeners are female. So you females that are consistently listening to us, let us know what you think on those topics too. You know, we want to hear things that you agree with or that you like that we talk about, maybe things that you disagree, or if you have a different opinion or different thought on that. Like we want to hear that, you know, we want to hear that side of the discussion as well.
Right.
You know, we've said this many, many times where we're not going to dive into the female side of things too much because we have 3 dudes in the room here, 3 dudes on the podcast. So we're not going to speak on things that we don't have, you know, experience with or feelings towards or anything like that. You
knowledge
know what I mean?
of, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we do have a pretty significant, as far as, you know, podcasts that have a male-dominated crew, you might say, and then we talk a lot about fitness and things like that, which is predominantly a male field would you say, I guess?
Yeah, I would agree. And the main thing I would say is like the internet showcases it as that.
Yes.
I think a lot of females are active. It's just not showcased near as much as the male side is, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to have over 25% of our listeners, over a quarter of our listeners be female, guys, like let us know.
Agreed.
You know, let us know. A lot of our interaction comes from you males, and don't let that stop because we love that as well. You know, we love bringing you guys a part of our discussions. Our men's nights are obviously extremely important to us, and that's a very important foundation that we've built there. But anyway, I just want to say that because it's always interesting to hear different perspectives on things, you know?
I will say too, ladies, the only thing we won't do is we won't paint our nails. You know, saw a dude the other day with rainbow nails. Yep. That just won't be part of Untapped. It just can't happen. Sorry.
Maybe if we like seriously lose a bet or something.
I mean, it better be a huge bet.
Huge bet.
A huge bet if I'm doing something like as gay as that.
Man, we're like 6 minutes in, already dropping it. I'd rather climb to the top of the arch in St. Louis and do a pull-up without any bands. You know, like nothing holding me up. Then paint my nails rainbow. Did you find that funny?
You know, I wholeheartedly agree with that statement. Because at least that, you know, you go out being a man. Like even if you fall, you either complete the pull-ups or whatever, how many of them you do, and you look sick and you finish them, or you die, but you go out in a blaze of glory because you're a beast. Well, you paint your nails, you're just a homo.
Yeah, I mean for sure. But if you fell from the arch, like you just splatter. Like there's no really like heroic way of dying, right? Like you would turn into dust.
Oh man,
it's what 630 feet up there. I think
it's a long way.
I think it's 630
for sure.
I'd land.
Oh my God.
We should see that one coming.
Captain America style.
Well, I can't believe neither one of us thought of that, dude.
I feel like Captain America would definitely be squished though at that height though. You know, the super soldier serum only goes so far, Mitch. So come on.
We could test it out, Mitch. You want to be the test dummy?
I've been called Mitch Lander before, so
Stop the cap.
I wonder how many people get that reference too.
It's not even me tonight.
It's a great show. Yeah, I know. It's him making the bad jokes.
I know. I've
That's
taught him
a little
so
concerning.
well. I've taught him so well.
Yeah, dude, I said some dad joke the other day too. It was about we were watching the baseball game. Oh man, it was bad. Anyways, we won't hang up on it too much. But I said it, and you were so proud of me. I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, dad jokes, hell yeah.
I'm also extremely proud to announce, guys, I've gotten Gabel on the LA hat train, and he is back a part of the chain gang. I mean, it is beautiful to see. You look fantastic, buddy.
Thank you. $10 chains.
$1,000.
Yeah, it was 10 grand. Yeah, for sure.
No, 1,000. 1,000.
Okay, yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
But I will say, baseball hats are a vibe for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not at all a Dodgers fan. Honestly, there's not an LA team I'm a fan of, but it's a sick hat.
Yeah. Just like the New York Yankees one.
I will say, I think baseball hats are the only hats that are actually stylish just to be stylish.
Yes.
Like,
I would agree with that. 100%.
At least I wouldn't, because I wouldn't say like hockey hats. I have them for the team.
Yeah.
You know, that's it.
Yeah.
NFL, same thing.
Yeah.
NBA, if I don't know anybody who has an NBA hat. Honestly, that's a tough look if you have an NBA hat, but that's a horrible product right now. But you know, Sam.
But yes, 100%. 100% though. Like why? I mean, that's part of the reason I'm collecting a hat from every team except the Cubs, of course, because that's just ugly. It doesn't go with anything. They lose, they suck. I mean, they're just any number of things.
Why would you ever root for that team?
I don't know. You know, I ask. Well, I don't ask myself that every day. But
I was gonna say, do you ask like you? I don't think you know any Cubs fans. You
know? No, I disassociate myself completely from that.
Good.
Yeah,
I assumed so. Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, I'm very proud to have you on the team, the LA Hat team.
I'm definitely fired up about it. For sure.
And they are proven to increase testosterone as well, along with the three other things we're going to cover.
Yeah,
tonight.
weird. That does transition us really well, actually, because LA hats do increase testosterone, but that's just a bonus part of the three.
It is. Yes.
So this is not part of the 3 ways, guys. If you know those of you that saw the title, but this is just a bonus one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you wear LA Dodger cool baseball hats, then you know you have higher testosterone.
Yes,
it's proven. I wanted to actually put a note before we even dive into these 3. So, because you were talking about the ladies. This is important for you too, ladies.
Oh,
These 3 we're going to list are actually very helpful for hormone levels across the board.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just testosterone. It's just testosterone's a buzzword. You know, we use it to get the attention a little bit.
Yeah.
But ladies, these 3 things we're going to mention are very important for you as well.
Without a doubt.
Do not think that you are out of the loop on this one, that we're talking to the dudes, that you know, only dudes need testosterone. Not true.
Definitely not true.
Yeah. So I wanted to preface that before we jump in, but 3 natural ways. So we're not talking PEDs. We're not talking, I wish sometimes, but, not talking trend, not talking test, whatever. Just taking that, talking stuff that you can actually do that is scientifically proven to increase your natural testosterone.
And these 3 things are not supplement related either.
Exactly.
I suppose once we get into our second point or one of our points here, we'll touch a little bit on it, but they're not.
They'll see the connection, though.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's
Exactly.
not. It's not about the supplement game.
Right,
You're right.
right.
You're absolutely right there.
But anyway, guys, first one, and this one is probably the most obvious. I would say this is probably the most well known.
Honestly, you'd be surprised. I think it's obvious to guys like us.
Fair,
But
yes,
I think the second one might be a little bit more noticeable even to some
for
other
sure.
people. Yeah,
for sure. But heavy lifting, just in general, heavy lifting, but especially on your compound lifts. Now, what's a compound lift? Those are the 3 big ones that you think of: bench, squat, deadlift.
Yep.
Those 3 are going to be your most typical, most used,
most common
compound lifts.
because
Most common,
because
yes.
something like Hatfield could fall into this range
Of
too.
course, of
but
course.
we're not gonna. Guys, if we go through a list of compound movements, you would be bored out of your mind.
Yes.
So think movements that recruit more than basically 2 or more muscle groups into a lift.
Correct.
That is a compound movement. So
Yes.
you can honestly DM us if you have questions about other movements like that, but also you can kind of do some logic and break down certain movements. A lot of barbell movements are like this. Some dumbbell movements here and there are like this as well.
Really, the only thing that for sure won't would be machine movements.
Right.
Just because they're
Machines,
so isolated.
Cables, sometimes some things come into play, but it's not
For
really,
sure.
I wouldn't consider them compound movements at all.
Right.
But yes, you're right. More machines, more cables, those are going to be isolation movements compared to something like a barbell bench press, like Wurtz said.
Yeah.
It recruits chest, shoulders, triceps, core even gets involved.
Yes.
Sometimes the lower body, if you're doing it right, gets involved as well.
Absolutely.
So that's about as compound as you get other than the deadlift.
Yes.
The deadlift is probably the most noticeable example of this. And actually, people have done studies on this as well, where barbell deadlifts, it is one of the highest what it does, and why we're mentioning it, guys, in this list of natural ways to boost testosterone, is these compound lifts, and I'll use a deadlift as a top example here, is after you do the movement, so let's say you do a set of 3 reps. You go heavy, you get to your max of 350 pounds by 3 reps. Cool. You finish that out. It was a RPE 8 or 9, which is your exertion out of 10, 8 or 9 out of 10 difficulty. That's really difficult.
10 being maximal effort, you have nothing left in the
10
tank.
being you're on the floor dying, pretty much. Yeah,
Yes.
Damn near.
Don't do that, though.
Yeah, unless you're specifically training for something like that, like Hell Week
Right.
in SEAL. So I mean, but most
I don't
people
know
aren't.
that anything can train you for that or prepare you for that.
I don't think there is anything.
No.
At least not that I know of.
Yeah.
But so after what happens, guys, after this deadlift, this compound movement where it's bench press, squat, deadlift, whatever, is you basically get a release of testosterone, and your testosterone spikes after that point in time. This is very simplified to that level. Obviously, there's a lot of chemical processes that go into it, but your testosterone spikes. That leads to basically you're more likely to gain muscle mass because you had 3 to 5 muscle groups activated during this movement. So naturally your testosterone spikes a little bit higher. Because of that, your muscle mass goes up. Because your muscle mass goes up, your testosterone levels then stay higher as well. Now, keep in mind, compound lifts are great and amazing. Nothing is going to raise your testosterone levels as much as like synthetic testosterone would in this case.
Or taking literal tests.
I think that should be pretty obvious
Yes.
in this scenario.
And that's why we're saying 3 natural ways, because anyone can do these things.
Yeah. Because honestly, I don't really recommend most people to even consider testosterone unless you're really having bad symptoms of it.
Sure.
But,
And if you are having symptoms of it, go get checked.
you should go get
your
blood work
levels
done.
checked.
Yeah.
Yes,
At minimum, you
absolutely.
should get blood work done.
Yes.
Yes, 100%. But so again, that's kind of the process of what happens, guys, is there's a spike in testosterone. Obviously, because there's a spike in testosterone, that leads to more muscle mass gain because testosterone leads to more muscle mass gain. It's the number one known hormone for that. And ladies, this happens to you as well. Your levels are just lower than men's naturally.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, again, the idea of this compound lift, and we'll touch on this later on in the episode as well, is the reason I said 3 reps, guys, keep that in mind, is because that 3 reps ends up being what's called an anaerobic maximal effort. Because of that, anaerobic is pretty much anything that is a very short period of time of exercise.
Yes.
So it's not a set that takes 1.5 minutes to complete.
Right.
That's not anaerobic. That's
Like-
when you start getting into the aerobic
Right.
category.
Like sprints would be an anaerobic exercise.
Exactly.
Running 2 miles would be an aerobic.
There you go.
and
Exactly.
space aerobic.
I know. I hate separating the two because
Yes.
it's like, oh, okay, take them apart
Yes.
like that. Yeah. But
Carry the one. Oh, wait. No, that's math.
wait,
Never mind.
that was algebra.
yeah, yeah.
Damn.
Forgot
Okay.
about that. Yeah.
Another, head poof movement or moment. But guys, again, the whole idea of these anaerobic movements is it's much less time that you're doing these, but it's a maximal amount of effort in that time. So you feel like you just ran a marathon, except you just did 20 seconds of an exercise.
Right.
That's pretty insane.
Yes.
If you really think about it.
Absolutely. Yes.
And that's where this spike in testosterone increases from, because your body basically reacts to it and is like, oh, we need to feed the muscles because we need to recover them. We need to basically adapt to this stimulus we just received.
Yeah.
And then guess what? Your testosterone levels go up. So it's a pretty cool process, to be completely honest with you.
It is.
Yeah.
And that's why, guys, like we have said for so long, and you hear tons of people within the fitness industry, lift heavy. And this is exactly why. I understand that there's a lot of females that think if you lift heavy, you're going to look like a man. That's just not true. The only way that females can possibly start to look like males is if you literally take tests.
Yep.
And we have seen that.
And we've also said a lot of the times even females who take steroids don't reach a level of a lot of natural males.
And that's exactly why I said start to look like a male.
Again,
Yes.
that's biological.
Exactly.
That's also why females shouldn't take steroids, but that's a whole nother
For
conversation.
sure, it's a whole nother
Yeah.
thing. And I suppose there are instances where, whether it's male or female, we know like there are instances where it's necessary, you know. But but anyway, even for you males, like if you really want to see progress and you really want to change your body composition, like lifting heavy is the number one place to start.
Yep.
Because if you're just going through the motions, you're just, if you're capable of benching 135, which is a plate on each side, but you consistently just throw 15 pounds on each side, you're not going to grow. You're not going to grow, So you need to test yourself. You need to push yourself. Now, notice he said, we're not doing this every day. You cannot do a 3-rep max deadlift every single day or every single time you do back, because then, one, you're going to overtrain potentially and you're going to get hurt.
Yep.
Okay. And you're also not giving your body that chance to recuperate. It's not just, oh, well, the Untapped guy said if I just do my max for 3 reps every day, then my test levels go up. Not what we're saying. Yeah. Not what we're saying.
Exactly.
Maximal effort requires you to be rested and ready to go.
Yeah.
That means you need to have
maximal recovery.
Exactly.
Yep.
That means you need to be sleeping. That means you need to be eating, especially before a workout like that. I don't eat, or I don't eat a ton before I work out because I prefer working out on as close to an empty stomach as I can.
Agreed. Yep.
I used to go completely empty stomach, but then I realized just with the pre-workout and, maybe some other things that we take before workout, there was just kind of a lot going into my stomach and it would almost make me feel sick.
Caffeine, especially in pre-workout, does that.
Yeah. And I've also just noticed it even on our stim-free pre-workouts that we take, just
Really?
at times. Now, it's usually with the ones with stim in it, because you're right. If you just drink a bunch of caffeine on an empty stomach, like you're just asking to get sick.
Just guzzle some coffee.
Yeah.
Before you go work out.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, guys, like lifting heavy, that's exactly why this is so important for growth, to then trigger testosterone increase. And it's going to be, a gradual increase. It's not just like you're one day basically on roids. That's not what's happening here.
Dude, I wish.
Oh, I know, dude.
In the first 6 months, that's basically what it is.
It
the
is.
first 6 months you
Yes.
lift ever, that's basically what it is.
So should we maybe just take like a year and a half off of lifting then? And then that way for the 6 months,
we should do what that one trainer did. Did you see what he did? He basically purposely gained, I think it was like 80 pounds, or maybe maybe it was like 60. Either way, a lot of weight. Yeah, he purposely gained a lot of weight and then lost it within 3 months.
That's
just
sick.
to show that it can be done.
Yeah, that's sick.
Which is badass.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Yeah, because basically he was tired of hearing people say it can't be done.
Yeah.
And people still say that to this day, even though the
for
guy,
sure.
again, disproved them, and every research study disproves that exact same thing.
Right.
Unless you have some
Just take
magical.
Ozempic.
There you go. So take semaglutide, you're good. It's all handled. Because that'll totally set in the habits you
For
need
sure.
to lose
Oh,
weight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you have some magical thyroid condition that is like the worst thyroid condition of all
Right.
time.
Which is a very small percentage.
Extremely small percentage.
Yes.
Everybody thinks they have a thyroid issue. More than likely, you just eat too much
You're
McDonald's.
just fat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we should all 3 of us should just become chubbos.
Yes.
and then lose it all in 3
Our
months.
muscle memory would be crazy, bro. We'd come back sick.
Yeah,
It'd
we
be
would.
awesome. Yeah, it'd be awesome. But again, we'd feel like
75 soft
absolute
inbound?
75 soft. 75 dirty bulk.
Oh, God.
Just eat donuts for the dirty bulk. Oh, I'd love that. And then I'd feel like
gosh.
shit the rest of the day.
Let's all, including you, Mitch, I know you're extremely short compared to us.
Wow.
But let's all bulk to 260. So you
For me, that wouldn't be that bad, actually.
no, exactly. And
Yeah.
I could probably find a way to hide it. But Mitch, that includes you. So you're going to go up to 260. It's about a
He goes-
100 pound increase for
Yep,
you.
about
He
100
goes, I
pounds.
could find a way to hide it. That's true. We do have to get Mitchell up to at least 200, though. Because if you're under 200, you're basically a ragdoll.
You two would look
Yeah.
like the average American at 260, honestly.
So a loser.
Yes.
No, we would look
Yeah.
like Brad Martin because he's 260.
That's true.
That's how that works, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just get to 260.
You would.
Then take steroids.
Yeah.
And then I'll look like Brad.
320 pounds
I
with
would
an
be
8 pack.
jacked, dude. That would be awesome. But I wouldn't be able to run more than like 30 feet in front of me, and that's
Running
it.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're
That's all
right. You're
good.
right. It's not a useful skill at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Just like that. Oh. Phew.
I don't know what.
You'll see what I mean after, but what I mean is that
It's an off the mic topic.
Yes, it was mainly about the idea of like how people think that, because you're this massive. The only person I know that's an athlete that's Brad's size is Brad. That's it.
Yeah, and even he has a little bit of funny running form.
He looks
It's,
weird as
goofy,
hell.
but he
Yeah.
still runs.
Yes,
And he talks about it
he's
all the
still
time.
quick actually for that matter
Yeah.
too. But no, my idea in my head there were some people that think that if you're like 280 and a bodybuilder and that's all you do, for you're an athlete of some sort.
Oh,
but then
yeah.
you see them out in the football field and they literally look like
And they get hurt.
yes,
More than likely.
they get hurt
Which-
and they look horrible out there.
Yes. Very uncoordinated, very
Yeah.
stiff. No, 100%. And I guess technically they are an athlete in a way because they're competing in the shows.
Sure.
Which
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But we hear athlete and we think play sports.
I think
You
play
know.
against somebody when I think athlete. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I think competing against literally physically competing against someone. Like a
Yeah.
pitcher pitching to a batter
Sure.
is competition to me.
Absolutely.
Me
Absolutely.
playing defense one-on-one against somebody is competition
Right.
to me. But
Right.
You know.
Yeah, because I guess with a bodybuilding show, if we're being honest, and this is just from what I've heard because I've talked to a ton of bodybuilders. Because honestly, I was
we're friends
very
with a lot of them, yeah.
very well. And I was very much contemplating training for a show and doing that.
Yep.
Is you're not competing with the other people up on stage. You're competing with the person that you were before you stepped on.
Right.
So it's still a competition, and in a way, you're still an athlete. Just the way we think of it is, let's go do one-on-ones on the football field.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
How
you
many
compete?
sports can you play competently?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
that type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but well, and I mean, as far as running goes, let's go into that point because that was one of our next points here was sprinting
Definitely.
for cardio.
Definitely.
know?
So, second point. Well, actually, let me wrap up real quick at the compound list, by the way. So, Wurtz said do not train compound lifts every day of the week. Correct. Also, do not train them the entire workout.
Oh yeah, just bench the whole time.
Let's say you're working out 6 days a week and each day you do 3 or 4 different compound movements. Nope.
yeah,
More than if you're training with the correct intensity, no, do not do that.
Right.
I just wanted to caveat that real quick to finish up that point. Make sure it's 1 or 2 of the exercises, and you'll learn your intensity as
For
you
sure.
that you can handle. But do not rush into this thinking that compound movements, if you do 4 of them in a workout, are going to take your testosterone to the
yeah.
roof.
No, that's a really good point.
Start with 1 or 2 and do 3 to 4 sets on each.
Yeah.
Start there.
Yeah,
Is my
and,
point.
and there's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with isolated movements either. Machines,
Exactly.
cables,
Yes.
those are extremely useful.
Having big biceps and nice triceps,
Well,
what
yeah.
is it? Curls get the girls.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yes.
Yeah. But things even like lat pull downs, that isolates your
Correct.
lats rather than a barbell row. You have to be able to engage your core. You have to be in a correct position with your shoulders and your back, and you got to be hinged and whatnot. So there's a lot that goes into that. So is the barbell row? I won't say a better movement, but that's a compound movement there,
Correct.
which requires a little bit more skill because it's a skill. Lifting is a skill
Mm-hmm.
without a doubt. So if you're just starting out, your lat pull down machine, your lat pull down cables might be the better route to go to get the feeling of using your lats, of using
Correct.
your back. You know what I mean?
And then you can look like Will.
And then you get to look like Will, who can literally fly.
No, I'm actually convinced he literally can fly.
Yeah, no, I've seen it.
Okay.
Yeah, he
I
flies
was
to
waiting
House
for
of Pain.
confirmation there from you.
Yeah,
That's good to know.
No, he flies to House of Pain.
Cool.
It's like a whole thing. Like we all have to kind of like clear out of the parking lot.
Really?
Because he's a big guy. He needs his
He
landing
lands
spot.
out. Yeah,
he
yeah.
does.
Okay,
he
that
does.
makes sense. Yeah, sure.
But it's pretty cool. Yeah,
Nice, dude.
It's pretty cool to witness. So
Shout out you, Will. That's
Will
dope.
Bates confirmed can fly, and he drinks Red Bull.
Red Bull gives you wings. Oh, sorry. I couldn't help it. I'm brainwashed. That's propaganda. But guys, to dive into our next point, as Wurtz was mentioning, we were talking about running. Why were we even thinking about running when it comes to testosterone, right? You know, if you run a marathon, you've seen the guys who win marathons. They look like, they're starving, basically. They look like they have about 2 pounds of muscle on their body.
Still impressive though. My goodness.
And not denying that at all.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they just look like a corpse sometimes.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, but the point of the matter is the form of running we want to discuss is sprinting.
Mm-hmm.
Optimally for 6 to 12 seconds in that range. Again, that's just very research study, pinpointed,
Sure.
that type of stuff. If you go to 15 seconds, I think you'll be fine.
You
Or
actually
if you go to 20
gain weight
seconds.
if you go over 12.
You're guaranteed to become obese if
Yes.
you go to above 12 seconds. Yep. Yeah. we used to get quoted. It's like, oh, come on. This increase in testosterone is going to come from. So sprinting, if you do it right, is a maximal effort. It is an all-out effort for 6 to 12 seconds. You are just basically hauling ass for that amount of time.
Yeah.
For, let's say, 20 to 100 yards.
Somewhere in there.
Somewhere in that range, right?
Yeah.
That's usually a normal sprint range. 10 yards, you can do it, but that's more like interval work,
For
et cetera.
sure. For sure.
So sprinting, because it's a maximal effort and it's an anaerobic activity. Remember, anaerobics are like pretty much anything below 30 seconds. That's most common. I believe the range goes somewhere into the 45 seconds. I'd have to brush back up on that. But 30 seconds and below are the most common anaerobic movements. Because of that, and again, because if you're doing it with correct intensity at a maximal effort, it mimics resistance training and compound lifts. Because of that, your body is being pushed to a maximal level, which then spikes testosterone, which then leads to help with more muscle mass gain, which then leads to higher testosterone. Cool.
Not to mention with both of those things, your cardiovascular health is also going to increase.
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely.
That's something we kind of didn't touch on with the compound lifts, because you don't really think about that as much when you're lifting weights, even though you certainly are, helping your cardiovascular health. Obviously, that being your heart. In case maybe that isn't obvious to you, that means your heart, your heart system. But I think people generally associate that more with running, sprinting, things like that. But that's also something that's being, increased.
Yeah.
Becoming more healthy, things like that, more efficient.
Right.
You know.
Who do we think of as some of the most explosive and best quick hit cardiovascular health athletes there are?
Probably football players.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly where I was going with that.
Yeah.
Mind reader.
Yeah.
Comes
with the name.
Yeah, it's a guaranteed
And
thing.
the hat.
We're
The hat
linked.
game.
Yes.
Yes.
The hat
Yes.
game is important too. But football players, the reason I mention them is because think about that. Every movement they do, if it's what each play is maybe 5 to 15 seconds in total.
I'd be interested to find out what the average play, because it's probably lower. It's probably like 4.
It might be.
I don't know.
Be like 4 seconds.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So keep that in mind, guys. What do you see football players training in every video you watch of football players training? You see them training compound lifts, and you see them training sprinting and high intensity movements
And explosiveness,
And these guys tend to be the most jacked athletes there are a lot of the times too.
Sure.
If we're talking aesthetic wise,
Sure.
of course.
Yeah.
But my point here is that Wurtz is right. There's a difference with cardiovascular health with them. If you ask them to run 5 miles, they would hate it and they would do horrible.
And they probably wouldn't. There's probably a lot of them that wouldn't be able to.
Right. At least not well.
Sure.
You put them at a 10-minute pace, okay, sure. But
Yeah, right.
if you put them at a pretty tough pace, probably not.
Yeah.
So my point here is that that's why it's fun to train cardiovascular health all around the spectrum, is because you get all around the spectrum as well.
Definitely.
The list cardio, the low intensity steady state, compared to the high intensity training like sprints.
Yes.
It's good to do that. But sprints especially are the ones that are the most likely to increase testosterone. You could probably throw a salt bike in there, but the main research has been done on things like sprints.
Yeah.
Because it's the most obvious and accessible.
Right.
Everybody has a field or some straight line they can sprint in.
A street.
Everybody.
I mean, a highway. Well, maybe don't play Frogger on the highway.
Yeah, we're not encouraging highway jumping at all. But
real talk, like a neighborhood street, a
Yes.
field, a sidewalk, a parking lot. Parking lots are great because they have lines. And
100%.
I think
Yeah.
what are parking spaces 6 feet wide? No, they're probably like 8 feet wide.
Shit, if I
Yeah,
know.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know for sure. But basically, you would just count how many parking
Correct.
spaces you're running, and then it's like, okay, that's 20 yards.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
Even a hill. You know, if there's just a hill somewhere, run up the hill.
Bro, let's say your backyard is hills.
Exactly.
Hill sprints are ridiculously hard. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But again, maximal effort, spike in testosterone.
Exactly.
Boom. There you
Exactly.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's honestly very interesting to see how the different sports train, you know, because for hockey,
It is.
you guys obviously need that quick explosiveness. Like there's no doubt about it.
Correct.
You need that. But I would be very curious to find out what the average distance skated in a game is. I mean, it's probably miles.
It's
If I had to guess-
well, it's in the miles for sure.
Yeah. So you also have to have that long-term cardio built up,
Correct.
just like soccer players. But then like baseball, for example, we do a lot of shorter distances. You know, the bases are 90 feet. So the most you're ever really going to sprint
Right.
would be 270 if you're going for a triple. You know, obviously it would be 360 if, wait, is that math right? Yes. 360 if you get an inside the park home run in the big leagues, which doesn't happen very often. But if you're an outfielder, you know, we're amazed if they track a ball down for 100 feet. I mean, that's going a long way for a
Correct.
fly ball. So why do I need to train, you know, running 100-yard sprints? Oh, I'm sorry. That's why you train 100-yard sprints.
Yes.
But why do I need?
I know what you're saying.
Why
Yeah,
do I
yeah.
need to run a 5 mile? You know,
Right.
it's not necessarily necessary
Right.
for the game aspect.
Yeah.
Now,
It also doesn't happen that much during the game either.
exactly.
So that's the thing.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of games where an outfielder is not going to run 100 feet for a fly ball.
Yeah, which
You
is
know,
which is crazy to
at,
think
at
about.
maximal effort.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the point there. You know, now that's why the top outfielders are the top outfielders because they can do that and make that play. You know, or that's why a guy that can hit a ball to the gap and get to third, like a Corbin Carroll who's playing in the World Series now. You know, for the Diamondbacks, there's a reason that he's so valuable because he has that speed and that built up enough to do that. You know, so it's just interesting because we talked about football. You know. Soccer and hockey are similar in ways that you have to also have that long term with that short term built up. You know, baseball, it's mostly going to be short term, kind of like football in a way. You know,
Yep.
so it's also very interesting just to see the difference between the sports.
Well, and one thing to finish it out with sprints here is that interests me a lot. So sprints are talked about a lot actually in almost any exercise science group, any type of fitness conversation as one of the best indicators of longevity. So if you can, basically the older you are and you can sprint, that is an extremely good indicator of your longevity.
Yeah.
So the point here is, guys, just because you're not playing sports anymore, you should still be training sprints.
Yeah.
Because guess what? It is, again, a maximal effort. That takes a lot of stress on your body.
Yes.
If you are doing a maximal effort, like in a deadlift or like in a sprint, your body is like, oh my gosh, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like what's happening right now?
Right. Right.
So if you can adapt to that stimulus, your body's also going to get better at handling daily stimulus too. So then you end up living a healthier life long term.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's your equation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you mentioned something earlier about LISS, which is
Low intensity,
low, I
steady
was
state
like, what is
cardio.
the L?
Yeah.
Low intensity, steady state cardio.
I confuse the acronym so many times.
For
There's
sure.
too many of them.
Because there's
that
so
are- yeah.
many. Yes. Now, what is that, guys? That's walking, rucking, going for a jog, going even for a long distance run.
Yep.
If you correctly can pace yourself, which is something I'm not great at when I run, because I'll like get done. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I was in zone 5 or zone 4 heart rate that entire
My heart
5
rate is
miles.
180 beats per minute. the
No,
whole
literally
time.
though, literally, and which is entirely too high
Yep.
to maintain that. But that's why things like rucking are so beneficial for like losing body fat because you're able to stay in that zone 2 heart rate, which is different for everybody. But I believe it's usually around 120 and below.
It's usually in the range of like, I think 110 to 130 or something like that, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Again, that's
give or take.
person to person there.
Yeah.
Depending on what your average heart rate is and what your resting heart rate is. But things like that are also still very, very useful. but you're not necessarily triggering that testosterone release and increase
Correct.
like you are for the maximal effort of 6 to 12 seconds on a sprint, deadlift, anything we just mentioned. So don't take what we're saying here as, oh, so I shouldn't do my longer runs or I shouldn't walk or ruck, but why are those guys rucking all the time? It's still extremely beneficial.
Yes.
And the cardiovascular health benefits as well.
And for that matter, walking in general is proven to be one of it's probably the most researched form of exercise there is.
Yes. Because it's also the simplest.
It's also the simplest. Yeah. And because of that, it shows the longest longevity because it's just a natural human movement.
Exactly.
Humans have been walking and running forever.
Right.
So we can
continue doing those things.
Exactly.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Now,
don't stop doing that.
Yeah. Now, 1 to 3 times a week, throw some sprints in. Throw some, challenge yourself.
You're probably going to want to start with that 1 to 2 days for sure. Just
Yes.
because your body at first is going to be like, what are we doing?
What are we doing
What
here?
was the thought process here? Yeah.
Did you think before we did this?
Yeah. Did you just kind of throw me in and just throw me for the fire and just hope for the best? No. Right. But eventually you could work up to something. And again, be careful with conditioning and whatnot and how you adapt to stimulus. It all depends on your training goals. If you really want to get good at sprints, you probably could handle up to 3 days.
Yeah.
But if you have other stuff going on, okay, that 1 to 2 days will be perfect to maintain longevity range and actually get the conditioning benefits out of it.
Absolutely. So, and one of those days, train your 20-yard sprint.
Exactly.
One of those days you could do a little bit longer, go 40 or 50 yards. And then if you are really wanting to push yourself, challenge yourself, try for 100-yard sprints. Don't do 100-yard the entire time, but mix in maybe 4 100-yard sprints. And that's a lot. That's going to take a lot of effort. Another way that you can challenge yourself on these is get things like parachutes, that hook onto a belt that you put on your waist. You start running, that parachute starts pulling on you. You could, I don't really recommend this way because I think it would be clunky, but you could try it with a weighted vest. If your weighted vest is able to secure itself enough to you to where it's not bouncing and stuff, by all means try that. Or probably the simplest way that you don't have to spend any money on, find a hill. Find a hill because that'll challenge you as well.
And that's a resistance sprint. Yep.
Exactly. So this last way, guys, is very, very simple. It requires no equipment. It requires damn near zero effort, potentially.
Other than stepping out your door.
Exactly. Literally, get outside and get sunlight. Get vitamin D.
Yep.
The list goes on, and we'll cover these things, but the amount of people that do not get enough sunlight is ridiculous. That have mood problems, that think they have depression and things like this. They're on antidepressants and all that. We're not going to go down that route because we would need sunglasses for that, obviously. But don't wear sunglasses when you do this. Let your eyes take in the sunlight, okay? However, we would need our conspiracy glasses, is what I should
For
say.
that one, yeah.
Yes.
Sure. Yep.
But you look at some of these people that are, depressed and they just always are in a sad mood and in a low mood and all this other garbage. It's like, well, do you get outside? I mean, do you go on your deck? Do you go on your front porch? Do you go get the mail and say hi to your neighbor?
Yep. The dad wave.
Yep.
Throw that out there to your neighbor.
I knew Mitch would like that. And the answer is no a lot of these times with these people. And it's like, if you would just go outside for 20 freaking minutes and eat your lunch out there every day, your mood would increase exponentially.
Yeah, because you're not going to tell me, even if you're working a 9-to-5 job inside, that you don't have a lunch break that you can go on and get outside and eat your food.
I mean, dude, and like, I'm very fortunate where I work, where before I start training, I don't have tons and tons of things to do, but I look forward to even like going and doing the trash on our field because 1, I get to drive our gator, which is sick, super fun. Okay, but 2, I'm outside. Like even on cloudy days, I'm just like sick. Like, yep, 100%, I'll do it. Yep. I'll go do the trash. Like I'll take that today because I like going outside. The amount of times I've told you, I'll go out and just walk around our facility. I'm also in kind of a cool part of the town, so there's an airport right by it, so I can walk down by that. But I always do that. Almost daily, I'll do at least 1 lap around our facility, which is a little bit over a third of a mile.
Yep.
So it's nothing crazy. It takes 7 minutes or something like that, but it's better than 0 minutes.
Yep.
We have big garage doors at our facility in our building, so whenever it's nice out, we have those open. Every hour or so, I'll go out there and just kind of, like, I'll still be able to see our athletes, but I'll go out there for 2-3 minutes, get a quick hit of sunlight. It feels good. It feels natural. And my mood and my energy levels stay where they should be.
100%.
In order for me to be the best I can be, not only in my job, but just mentally as well.
Yeah. Love that. Yeah. Well, and so guys, the science behind sunlight and why it's so important, Actually, real quick before I jump into that, what Wurtz is saying too is there's a lot of people that talk about how they're sad, depressed, and they have this horrible life, and you're not taking the basic steps first.
Yeah.
You're not going out in the sun. You're not exercising in some format like walking. You're not getting adequate sleep. You're not getting adequate nutrition. If you check all those boxes, then go from that point, then that's when the conversation should come into play for medication and whatnot, all that stuff. But you should be wanting to check other boxes to avoid medication before that step.
Yeah.
Like I again, maybe we're just crazy and maybe we're just, saying crazy things here.
For sure. I mean, obviously.
Obviously, yeah. But taking those 4 basic steps I just mentioned is a good starting place to help with your mood.
Absolutely.
And that is proven to boost your mood, just like exercise is proven to be one of the top mood boosters there is.
Absolutely.
And that's not even debatable.
No, it's not.
It's literally in every piece of literature. Exercise is shown to improve mood. It's shown to help with depression. Mm-hmm. It's shown to help with anxiety. Yeah. It's shown to help with all these
body
different conditions.
Image,
body image.
Like,
You basically name the condition. It's supposed to help with it.
Exactly.
If you lose weight, you're going to have a better body image. You're going to be happy.
Exactly.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
If you gain weight because you were a really skinny kid like me and you wanted to be more jacked, and you're like, oh, shoot, okay, actually, you can see muscles now.
Exactly.
Awesome. You get to be more happy.
Right.
It's a pretty obvious
equation. You have confidence. You're more confident with yourself, which means you're more confident with new people you meet.
Exactly. Exercise releases endorphins, which also lead to happier mood, etc. You
exactly.
You name it.
Exactly.
It's literally the antidepressant cure. Exercises.
And it's the natural antidepressant cure as well.
It's the zero side effect cure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But
unless you're an idiot and you do stuff that gets you hurt. I suppose.
Yeah, that's a whole nother
possible
conversation.
Side effect.
Yeah, I've been trying to stop that as much as I can recently because I've been seeing a lot of that lately at every gym I go to. People with horrible form, and I'm like, let me help you because you're about to blow your back out, straight up, like your spine's about to pop out of your back, and that's not what we want.
I'm gonna catch all your vertebrae.
Oh, that's a horrible image. Oh my, just a dark image there. That's some Halloween stuff right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Episode 99, Halloween edition for the Untapped boys. But guys, so the science behind sunlight and the reason it is so effective when it comes to testosterone increase, the main actually stuff you'll find with sunlight is UV exposure basically helps with essentially increased sexual function, which means your hormones are in place, basically.
Sure. Yeah.
Because especially at a young age, if you have good sexual function, or like, for example, dudes, if you're getting morning wood, that's a good thing. Like, I know it's funny, like hilarious stuff. Yeah, I know, because I'm trying not to laugh too, but it's true.
I'm not laughing.
Yeah, it's not funny at all. You're right. Yeah. But guys, that is a good thing to have happen. Just like, being sexually attracted to an attractive person is a good thing.
Exactly.
If you're seeing common signs of that, that's also a good indication you're getting enough sunlight or you're doing stuff that leads to good sexual function. Basically, UV exposure helps with this stuff. It helps direct hormone exposure. It helps direct hormone function, that type of stuff. And that is in general with UV exposure. There's something a little specific off of that, and that's vitamin D. Vitamin D can be linked to, well, actually, it's very linked to bone density, calcium phosphorus increase, which also leads to better bone health, that type of stuff.
And longevity, of
course, because better bone density means you avoid things like, osteoporosis, that type of stuff. Bone
Especially
breakdown.
common in females there.
Yes, very common in females just because they have a lower bone density naturally. Exactly. And also, vitamin D can be linked to fertility as well. So those of you that are looking to have children, that is a very good thing to add into your routine, which if you have better fertility, your testosterone, your hormones actually function better.
Yeah.
So, awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and earlier, just because we're talking about vitamin D, earlier we mentioned getting your levels checked, potentially your testosterone levels, which if you go to a good enough place, like there's one here in St. Louis called Summit Rejuvenation, where we know several people that do go to them.
Blood work, different therapies through them,
They don't only test your testosterone levels, they test your whole panel, which covers all the vitamins and minerals
it's a lot.
that you could possibly be deficient in.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are deficient in vitamin D. So I said we weren't going to talk about supplements, but this is kind of the one where supplementation could actually be extremely beneficial. It's also very cheap, vitamin D. And right now, most of the good brands pair that up with vitamin K, which is also extremely beneficial
K2,
for you.
right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, for your immune system. So you're not going to get sick as much, And so taking vitamin D, or if you take something that has vitamin D in it, specifically vitamin D3, it's going to be extremely beneficial for you. Another natural way that will aid in the increase of testosterone levels.
By the way, guys, definitely make sure it's vitamin D3 because that is the human version of vitamin. That's a vitamin D.
Yes.
Yeah, vitamin D2. That's for plants and fungi. So unless
Are
we
you either one of you fungi?
Unless
Mitch,
we need
are you fungi.
Unless we need to know someone. What the?
Not a fun guy, but are you fungus?
Is that what he's about to say? No way. You caught his ass.
Yeah.
You caught him lacking.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, you stole my joke.
Yep, I know I did. I know I did.
Yeah, he was doing the light skin face coming up to the mic. I mean, what are we doing right now?
I'm just mewing, getting a good jawline.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe I just called you out like that. That's funny. That's awesome.
Mitch, you gotta put yourself on camera with that part. That's so funny, dude. That's a big TikTok trend.
Oh, yeah.
Like mewing. It's like, don't distract by mewing. And it's like this. And they're like shaking their finger while they're mewing. It's so stupid, dude.
I know he's gonna put that meme in this now.
Oh yeah, 100%.
The one that we've taken for a long time is made by Carbon Fire.
Yep.
Okay, we get it at supplement superstores. So if you're here in St. Louis, Kansas City, or in Springfield, either Springfield, Illinois, or Missouri, go to S2. Yep. It's literally like, I think it's $13 for 60 servings, which you take one a day. So you have 2 months for $13. So
sounds like a good deal.
That's the one I recommend. There's another one.
Liposomal vitamin D3.
Well,
That's from
Now, liposomal means liquid.
Yep.
That has been said that can be the most efficient way to get it into your body. Now, the great thing about Carbon Fire is it's a gel tablet, so your body can actually absorb what's in that. Hard tablets, your body does not absorb as well, or sometimes at all. The crazy thing is they've done x-rays on people that take hard tablets. Sometimes in the x-rays, you can literally see the hard tablets in their stomach not dissolve, just sitting there.
It's probably just because the stomach acids don't don't actually agree with it or don't work
100%.
with it.
Yeah,
exactly.
So look for gel tablets or gel pills. Okay, your body will absorb those. That way you know you're getting the things that you're getting. Liposomal is also another very effective way, very good way. First Form makes a great one.
I was going to say I actually used First Forms for the last month.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really liked it for that matter.
And it's good. I don't think it typically has a taste.
It has a little bit of sweetness to it, but it's not bad.
Right, because even the capsules, like the smell of the inside, you don't taste it, but the smell of the bottle almost smells like citrusy in a way.
Yes.
It's not flavored or anything like that.
It was solid though. I mean, I didn't notice a ton of difference between the Carbon Fire and that, but
sure.
It was, again, I have optimal vitamin D levels because of that, and it was good.
Exactly.
Like I feel good because of that reason.
Yeah. And I take it every morning with my multivitamin.
Yeah.
So I just pop them all in.
Yeah.
Like no big deal.
So what's interesting about vitamin D as well? What was I going to say there? Shoot. You made a good point about something I wanted to go off that. That's
we're talking about tablets. We're talking about D3, K.
Oh gosh, come on. Oh,
it's cheap.
Yes, there we go.
Oh.
So dosage.
Oh yeah.
So okay, I was going through a few articles before this, guys, and I've seen the exercise science version of dosages, and I've seen the basic recommended daily allowances, which is the RDAs from FDA, which are usually trash a lot of times, at least in my opinion. But the recommended daily allowances a lot of the times are like 4,000 IUs or below. That'll say it on the bottle. Look up like MCGs or IUs. That's going to say it on the bottle. It'll allow you to like basically convert the two however you want. So in a serving on liposomal, it was 5,000 IUs.
Gotcha.
And then on the Carbon Fire, in one pill, it's 10,000 IUs. So, and keep in mind, guys, the reason that's okay on somebody that's more active is because you're naturally utilizing more of that because you're more active.
Exactly.
So that makes sense. Now, if you're just a couch potato, probably 4,000 IUs or lower is probably a better thing.
You also are probably someone that doesn't care about what we're talking about.
You probably aren't taking 4,000 IUs anyways. Yeah, so we're not really speaking to you in this case.
You're spending that $13 at Mickey D's.
I would say, though, from what I've seen, those $13 over 2 months, you can get like 80 quarter pounders for $13 at McDonald's. Oh my gosh. But the point is I would say, and from what I've seen, 10,000 IUs or below a day is your number you want to be at. Like usually 5,000 to 10,000 is what I've seen as an efficacious dose. Again, I think it's going to be person to person. You're going to find results. If you're between that range, I don't really see a point in dialing it exactly to the IUs you want. because that's one of those that's you're taking it a little bit much there.
I think the only time that might come into play, like having to be an exact number of IUs, is maybe if you are deficient and it's like, hey, we need to get at least 10,000,
Right.
or because I've actually, and I won't go too deep into this because I don't know all the details in it, but I've actually heard that you can take too much vitamin D3 for too long, and you can actually go toxic with it. I don't know what that number is. I don't know what that actually will entail for the individual. But we're active enough and we've been taking it long enough that that's not going to be an issue for us.
It's an extremely rare thing to happen,
Yes,
I believe, too.
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be dumping it down the hatch,
yeah,
basically.
if you're taking 5 of those 10,000 IU, I mean, you're 50,000, like just 50K IUs right there.
You know what's crazy?
You're just loaded with vitamin D.
I think the medical industry in general, I believe I had some
Very trustworthy.
super
industry.
trustworthy.
Yeah.
I had some clients actually who they were given a weekly vitamin D pill. So they would take
Interesting.
50,000 IUs one day, and that would cover them for the
Cover
whole
the
week.
Yeah.
Which I don't know the exact science behind that. I would assume your body just utilizes that over the week.
Yeah.
But I personally would rather have it a daily just so I know that's how it's
Definitely.
working, just because I would trust it that way. But again, if that's how you want to do it, you want to have a weekly pill because you don't like pills, okay. Like,
Sure.
I'm all about it.
Yeah.
As long as you're getting the vitamin D if you're deficient in it, especially like Wurtz said, if you are actually having a medical condition, be careful. Anytime you take supplements and you're like, okay, like this is making me feel weird, you should get it checked out.
Yes, and you should stop taking it.
Yeah, you should see your provider.
Yeah,
like real talk, or your health
sure.
provider in that case. Yeah,
For sure.
The-
Yeah.
Don't mess around and take 80 supplements and expect that to be a good thing, because next thing you know, you're mixing something. You're basically what's it called? Walter White in Breaking Bad. You're Heisenberg.
Oh,
a little chemist action.
Yeah, right.
But that's not what we want to be doing with supplements, because
Exactly.
yeah, it's pointless.
It's not always necessary. Yeah.
100%.
Without a doubt. Well, guys, we just covered three really good points here. 3 natural ways to increase your testosterone. We covered, heavy lifting, compound lifting specifically, doing sprints for cardio and the importance of that, why that's important for testosterone increase, and then just now to finish it up, we covered why you need to get outside and how vitamin D supplementation can be very useful for you.
Yep.
But you don't have to. You can also just go outside and
Get
get
sun.
adequate amount of sunlight.
Especially if you live in the South.
Yes, if you live in a sunny
Minnesota,
region,
you might need some
definitely, or the
vitamin D.
Northeast, Northwest, where it's always
Exactly.
raining. Of
Yeah.
course, yes, absolutely. But anyway, guys, make sure you pay attention to those things. Write down notes if you need to. Again, these physical vitality episodes are full of free game, and it's very important, and we know what we're talking about as well. We do research on these topics. We also have the knowledge and the experience that goes along with that. But we're always checking ourselves as well. We're always doing the research on them, finding articles. So we're trustworthy, is my point.
Yep.
You don't have to wear conspiracy sunglasses here.
I'm sure that one dude who commented, he probably wears conspiracy
Well,
sunglasses
it's
when he
very
listens to us.
toxic masculinity to go outside.
Well, in general, wanting to increase your testosterone or have balanced hormones, that's really masculine, and it's kind of gross.
It's very toxic. No, it is for sure.
Right.
It's giving off the wrong message.
It's giving.
What?
I'm talking about the trend, like the ick stuff. Yes, Mitchell knows. Yeah, it's giving.
Oh,
like that.
Yes,
It's
giving
ick.
blank vibes.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
Stupid. Oh,
Yeah, probably paints his nails as well.
Oh, that guy that commented definitely paints his nails. 100%. That video you sent me, I was like, "What in the world am I watching here?"
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
he was just flashing at him.
Oh,
I was like, "Bro, what
at
what
least
is
hide
this?"
it. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, you guys have no context here, so you're probably like, all right, get on with it.
Yeah,
fellas.
move on, guys. Come on.
At the end of all of our episodes, Money Mitch will ask us a Q&A question that is submitted by you guys, the listeners or the viewers, okay? We will cover here how to submit those a few different ways. So number 1, DM them to us on Instagram at untapped.llp. Okay, just DM them to us there to our account. You can also email them to us, or you can DM them to us individually as well. You can email us at extricationfitness@gmail.com. There's also an email button in our bio on Instagram. And third and final way is you can leave them in the comments on YouTube. Now, if you guys have not gone to YouTube and subscribed, please go over there and do that, okay? Not only do we post the podcast on there so you can see our reactions, you can see Money Mitch's beautiful face over there.
And his beautiful memes.
Yes, and his beautiful meme work. Always funny. You might get to see Obungo. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know, you never know what you might
Also,
see.
you might laugh.
Yeah.
You might be happy.
Exactly.
You know, that'd be awesome.
Or if we go silent for a second, it's probably because we're dying laughing. And you wouldn't know that if you're just listening.
Exactly.
But we also have vlogs on there. We go to different gyms. Our last one was a terrifying Friday the 13th ruck that we went on.
I'm still shook by it.
Gabel got possessed, and I luckily got him back from the evil that was in the tunnel.
Yeah, I really appreciate you for that.
Hey, brother. It's all love, you know?
It's so hard to keep straight face during this stuff, dude. Yeah, I gotta get better at that.
But anyway, go over to YouTube, like, comment, subscribe on all our stuff. We're really, really wanting to grow that side. We love doing the vlogs. That also takes a lot of time for myself and Money Mitch to do all the editing and whatnot. So show a little love over there for us, okay? We would really, really appreciate it. Without further ado, Money Mitch, let's hear it.
Where's the line where you start supplementing testosterone, like TRT, versus attempting to stay natural? Is it a goal thing? Is it, I want to compete in a show, or is it like a mood thing or something else? Where's that line?
That's a great question.
That's a really good question. And I think, actually, I don't think. I know a lot of our younger audience is very, because on social media and whatnot.
Yeah.
Well, and they're very interested in it. And honestly, I love that they're interested in it just because that means they're paying attention to these things within the fitness industry. So from that perspective, I really like it. However, when I get asked by 16, 17, 18-year-old boys, should I go on Tren or should I go on SARMs? Like, absolutely not. And also, I'm not the one to give you that answer, but if you want my advice and recommendation, the answer is going to be absolutely not. I would say the line is, Mitch, I think goal could be one. It can be one. If you truly get yourself to your physical peak naturally and you want to continue going on that path, okay, that can be an option.
Yep.
It could be an option, Does it have to go that way? Maybe not. Because if you truly get to that peak and you are an active human and you are consistently progressively overloading, compound lifting heavy, getting sufficient sunlight, things like that, do you need to do that? Not necessarily. Now, we kind of mentioned within the episode where, and you mentioned it in the question, Mitch, was mood. If you're noticing things like your libido, so your sexual drive, things like that, if your libido is not there and you're at an age and a time in your life where it should absolutely be there, okay, that's a problem.
Yep.
That's a problem. If you are having consistent mood swings and you have no motivation to go to the gym or just really do things that you enjoy, that can be a problem. If you're not sleeping, that could be a problem. So if you're having a bunch of symptoms that line up with any one of those things, I'm sure I'm missing some. I'm sure you'll be able to come up with some that I may have missed there. That could be a sign that you have low, not only testosterone levels, but like I mentioned earlier, you could be deficient in certain vitamins or minerals. Could be as simple as getting some vitamin D from S2.
Right.
Could be as simple as that. You start getting that in your body, you start getting outside more, maybe those things go away. There's also natural test boosters as well that can be effective in those situations as well. But I think if you're noticing things like that, that could be an indication that you need to get your levels checked.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And as for the health side there, you're absolutely right. Mood, fatigue, focus, that type of stuff, libido, like you said, those are probably your main ones that you topped off there. I mean, because it's not important to dive super deep into each symptom and whatnot, because there's pretty obvious one. Thanks, Mitch. Throwing me off over there. You'll get it afterwards. But my point here is you're absolutely right. If you are, let's say you're 25 years old and you have no libido.
I'm 25.
You are?
Yeah.
You have no libido?
Oh, I was just pointing out I'm 25.
You should have expected that. Yeah, no answer. Okay, cool.
I'm 25,
Yeah.
dude.
So, man, we are children. Again,
I'm 25.
This is my thing. Guys never grow up. I'm 100% sold on this. I'll make the same jokes
No,
when I'm 85
dude.
than I do now. 100%.
Yes.
You kinda
Farts
look
are
like
always
you're-
going to be funny.
You kind of look like you're like 18 Wurtz. You look like a little boy over there.
18.
Oh, God. Gonna
or
drink my water.
it's just hasn't matured since high school.
Gable, please continue on with your point.
Okay, yeah, because this is actually I love this question. I could talk about testosterone and when to supplement and whatnot. Because I honestly I feel like you and I have taken actual time to know this, and I feel like the approach we've had with this is really, really good.
Yeah.
I really do. Because you and I have, since we really started lifting together, thought about doing it.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be straight up.
Oh, for
Thought
sure.
about
yeah.
doing steroids.
We still talk
and
about it almost daily.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. It's like the Roman Empire, like 3 or 4 days a week type thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's common.
Yes.
Yeah. But the point here, guys, is that the road Wurtz and I have taken is, we're really not seeing any obvious symptoms. Would we feel better on something like TRT? Absolutely.
100%.
There's zero doubt in my mind because of how nasty our environment is now for testosterone that we'd feel better. Yes.
Yeah.
But there's also the part of us that's like, okay, being natural is a pretty big thing to have. Like, and looking good, looking aesthetic naturally,
Yeah.
taking care of your own health without the help of that's awesome. Do you really want to put drugs on board, in quotations, as soon as you need them?
Right.
Without crossing everything off the board.
Yeah.
Because I know there's plenty of things that I could have tuned up that I don't have tuned all the way up right now.
Yeah. Without it, you're saying.
My sleep is one of those.
Yeah.
There are some nights, like last night, where we had a hockey game late and I had all the adrenaline, I couldn't fall asleep.
Yeah.
So it was like 3 or 4 hours of sleep and that was it. So there are some nights like that. So if I had 7+ hours a night, I probably would still be really good. But
sure.
now today I was exhausted.
Yeah.
But the point is, guys, is that you should be really, really trying to max out that natural potential before you're like, man, I'm having a lot of symptoms. Now TRT might be the thing.
Yeah.
As for the goal portion of it, you really can utilize steroids correctly and avoid health concerns down the road. You really can.
Yes.
Now, the way you do it that I've seen and that I've researched is you keep the dosages, you try to find what they call your minimal effective dose. So let's say it's 150 milligrams of testosterone. That'll make sense to you when you guys look into this type of stuff. Excuse me. Let's say that is like the dose you start with whenever you first start utilizing something like testosterone. If that's effective for you, there is zero reason for you to go to 250.
Exactly.
Because all that will do is put more strain in your organs at that point in time. There's no reason behind that. So you need to find the minimal effective dose that gets you all the benefits that testosterone is going to give you. By the way, it's not just testosterone for testosterone replacement therapy and or for steroids too.
Right.
You need to have other stuff along board, especially fertility wise.
Yes.
There's stuff like sermorelin, there's gonadorelin. Again, these are going to be all buzzwords, guys. But there's stuff like that. There's Clomid, that's another one for fertility.
Yes,
that a lot of people utilize, very common.
Yes.
But if you guys want to have essentially working balls, then you should be utilizing compounds like that with testosterone. If you take testosterone,
If necessary.
Yeah, I guess if you're not even kids, and
well, I just mean if you don't need them, is what I meant.
Right,
is what
correct.
I meant, yeah.
So if you are going down the route of that, just be smart, because testosterone by itself literally tells your gonads, aka your testicles and your producing hormone, your pituitary gland, etc.
Yeah.
It tells them, hey, we don't need to work anymore.
Exactly.
Because you're already getting synthesized testosterone.
Exactly.
Now, the other compounds I mentioned help keep that natural testosterone flowing. So if you need to get off it, you just go back to your natural testosterone.
Exactly. And
big point there.
And the reason people do have issues, or guys do have issues, is because they don't take those other compounds.
Right.
They just take test, or they take a bad version of it, because there's different versions. I think there's A, B, and C.
There's testsifionate. There's all there's all little things.
Different versions. Yes.
Sure.
And there are versions that are not good to take. And if you don't know what you're getting or who you're getting it from, if this is just, what'd you say in the first vlog, guy in East St. Louis that you get yours from,
that is he's still my guy.
Exactly. Oh
Yep.
yeah, no, I could tell. But
thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
But that's where you run into these issues. If you're only taking that, or you're taking a bad batch, or you're taking, basically not from a place like we mentioned, Summit Rejuvenation. There's some other ones in the area as well. But that's when you have issues with your man parts down there. Okay. Also, if you're just doing a cycle of test to, just try and increase, body composition, muscle mass, lose your body fat, rather than TRT, which is for life, type thing, like Connor, who we've had on the podcast, talked about. If you're just doing a cycle, you need to do a proper PCT, which is post-cycle therapy. And that's
Correct.
essentially what that is going to do is, like you just said, remind your body, hey, we need to start making this again. Okay, we were getting it from a
Exogenous source.
basically from foreign
External
is what I was
source,
gonna say. External, Now we're not, so we need to wake back up. Essentially, we
Correct.
went into hibernation for a little while, for 8 weeks or whatever.
Probably shouldn't have been hibernating, but yes.
Exactly. But now we need to wake back up immediately.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll have all those issues that you just mentioned.
Long-term effects. Yeah, correct.
Definitely.
So, and I wanted to also mention along this question, naturally it comes up, harsher compounds like trenbolone acetate, aka Tren, D-ball's another one, Deca's another one, Winstrol is a cutting one that comes into play a lot of the times.
That's intense.
Very intense.
Yeah.
All of those I just listed are extremely intense. Honestly, unless you really feel like you need to utilize them for a bodybuilding show, I wouldn't even recommend diving into those at all, because to me, there's too much risk. All of those I just mentioned, testosterone's a natural part of the body.
Yep.
Those other ones I just mentioned are completely synthetic. It's just you adding something that then increases your testosterone production. There are some people, dude, that sit at 3,000 nanograms per deciliter off of some of those compounds. Do you realize how harsh that is on your organs?
Very bad.
Your body isn't used to that.
No.
The optimal range is like 800 to 1,200, I believe, right in that range. That's it.
Yeah.
You start going, and then your free test has a certain different level, but whatever. But the point here, guys, be very careful if you're going to get in these compounds. You basically are guaranteeing yourself TRT. You're guaranteeing being on some kind of health treatment your entire life, which is TRT. It's a risk.
Yeah.
It really is. And again, if you're going to get addicted to something, I would probably rather you be addicted to steroids over something like actual like drugs and whatnot, because at least you go out jacked. You know, you might die at 45, but you're going to be huge, the biggest dude in the hospital. So you know what I mean. But
damn.
But if you want to look at it that way, then sure, bro. If you want to let your bloodline die, okay, fine. But you know, that's personally, I want to have 1 million kids. Just kidding, not 1 million. But yeah, that's Genghis.
I feel for your wife.
That's
dude.
Genghis Khan level right there.
Jeez,
dude just has ancestors.
That's crazy. 1 million kids.
But
the U.S. population is going from 330 to 331.
Yeah, because of your boy.
Like, bro, you shouldn't be having any issues with that.
If you are, and I get it, our environment, like I said, is horrible for it.
Yes.
If you are actually having real symptoms, we know a guy who's young and on it.
Yes.
But he's one guy we know.
Yeah.
One guy.
Right.
And he needed it.
Yes.
Yes. If it's a medical treatment, you need it. Okay. Different topic entirely.
Exactly.
But for 99.9% of young men, you should max out at least 25.
Like, dude, you should have zero issues with any of the things that we just mentioned.
Yes.
Zero.
Yeah.
Even at our age. And if
100%.
And if you're in that range you just mentioned and you're having those symptoms, evaluate the situation.
It might be part of your other hormones, your other vitamins, minerals, etc., that type of stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. So in that situation, go get tested.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty much blood work is what you should be getting done. We need to follow that too. So,
we do, absolutely. Because you never know. We could be deficient. We
For
could be
all
low.
I know, we might be.
You know what I mean? And honestly, if we are low, I'm pretty impressed with what we've been able to accomplish.
I agree.
In the past 3 years, almost pushing 7 years now.
Yep.
You know, so anyway, guys, we just threw a lot at you there in a very, very short amount of time there at the end. It's a very elaborate topic. Testosterone is
definitely complex.
It's very very complex. So there's a lot that goes into it. It can be overwhelming as well, for sure. But anyway, guys, that is episode 99. Next episode, number 100. We are what?
Episode 100 is next.
Is it? Yeah. Playing dumb over there. Don't worry, I'm not giving anything out.
That could be a cool episode.
But we are very, very excited about our next episode.
Yes.
Very, very excited to bring you guys something very cool, very exciting. And And that's a big one for us. 100, man. Like
100's a huge
almost
deal,
2 years
Yeah.
into this. We're just a couple months out from that. Like
that still blows my mind every time you taste 2 years.
I know.
I still think we're like barely a year in.
I know. It's very, very cool. And so those of you that have been with us from the beginning, like we appreciate the hell out of you. It's been a good road so far. We're having success with this, and it wouldn't be possible without you guys, the ones that view this, that interact, that listen, give us tips, give us advice, question us, answer our questions, things like that, guys. Like, don't let that stop. It means the world to us. We appreciate you guys. Money Mitch, we appreciate you as well for joining our team here, without a doubt. But anyway, guys, until next time, peace and love.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.